I'm talking to Terry Peterson, a certified personal trainer. She works at Fitness First, and she also works with Pilates and clients at her home gym. Terry, welcome back again. Now, we were talking about balancing the body. You assess your clients. Elaborate a little bit on that. What are some of the things you do to determine if a person is out of balance, and what are the steps you do to correct that?
Most people are going to have imbalances. They favor one leg, they favor one arm. And so what I'm going to look at is, posture can tell me a lot. I can look at somebody when they walk in the door or just how they move, and I can see that they're favoring one side or the other. But most of the time, like I was talking about before, people have very short, stronger chest muscles and very weak back muscles.
Why is that?
Well, we're hunching forward. We do everything to the front. Everything we do all day, whether you're cooking, whether you're carrying groceries, whether you're on the computer, everything is front facing. We do very little to our backs. So most of the time, I'm going to work probably at least 50% more back muscles. I'm going to work their triceps as opposed to their biceps. I'm going to work their upper back shoulder blade area as opposed to their chest, just to have people be able to stand up straight and redistribute and get stronger in those areas where they were weak.
Right.
Because as muscles become shorter and shorter, you start slouching, slouching. And these muscles get longer and longer. We need to just reverse that, make these stronger, and stretch here. People have inflexible front muscles.
You had showed me a little demonstration with your arm. You were talking about the stretching with the contracting muscle. Can you demonstrate that with your arm for our audience?
Well, what I was talking about is when you do a bicep curl with weights, you're making the muscle shorter.
Right.
Right? So anytime
to strengthen it.
To strengthen it. You're actually getting more strength gains on the way down, which is called the negative or the eccentric contraction. You're resisting gravity on the way down. So on the way up, this muscle shortens, but it takes strength to lower it also, and you're actually getting more weight gains. If somebody really wants to get weight gains, I'm going to help you as a trainer. I'm going to help you do the ups, and you're going to do all the downs. If I have someone doing a bench press, I'm going to help them on the ups, and they'll do all the downs. You get more strength gains that way.
And I shared with you, I was reading in, I want to say USA Today or Time or somewhere, Dara Torres, 41-year-old Olympic swimmer. I think she won a silver or bronze medal in China this summer. And one of the things she was doing was that flexibility in a similar way that you described, the shortening of the muscle, and then she had a resistance against it as she lengthened it. And that must have worked for her, because her body is a classic swimmer's body, and it looks very strong. And for 41 years old, and I think she's a mom, is unbelievable. What is some of the feedback you get from the people you work with that do that successfully?
Well, what happens is, instead of short muscles, you get longer. You're working the full range of motion. If I'm doing my bicep here, I can do short and get a short bull. And some guys like that. I mean, it looks good, they think. So it's not as effective, but they can do short range of motion. You get a short squatty muscle, or you can do full range, and you can work from both ends of that bicep muscle and get a longer and, in fact, stronger bicep group.
Now, do the women, I would think long and lean seems to be the way to go, at least for the women, and I'm sure many of the men wouldn't mind that either. Not in competitive sports or something.
Which is where Pilates comes in.
Well, you broached it, so let's go there. What is Pilates? I mean, we've heard the word, but what is it?
Pilates is basically core training. You can't, and core would be this area of your body. You can't lift anything stronger than your core can support. I mean, I can reach out and try to grab something with my arm, but unless I'm using my core, I'm going to hurt myself if it's too heavy, The core is where you get all your strength. People at the gym that do crunches all day long, you know, they're doing crunches. They want that six-pack. They want those abdominals to be strong.
Everybody wants a six-pack, including me.
It doesn't work. It doesn't build strength.
So what
to do that? You've got deeper muscles. Your six-pack muscles are very superficial. Underneath, you have deeper lying abdominal muscles. And those are the ones that actually help support you. Your muscles can do two things. They can move you, or they can support you. They can stabilize you. Your abdominals, in that whole core area, is actually meant to be stabilizing muscles. Very few times in the day that we need to go
Right.
use our abdominals to move. But they're meant to be stabilizing muscles. So in order to use them as stabilizing muscles, we have to work the deep layers, not just the superficial six-pack muscles.
So what do you do? What as a certified personal trainer, how do you develop the core? What are some of the things
Develop
you
the
do?
core working them as stabilizers. So you are going to stabilize as you're doing arm movements and leg movements. Your abdominals are going to stabilize you through these positions, through these exercises. You know those guys in karate who break boards? It's not because they have really strong legs. It's because they have a really strong core. And they use their breath, which activates their abdominals. Every time you exhale, your abdominal muscles contract. So when they and break that board with their foot, it's coming, or with their arm, it's coming from here. It's coming from their abdominals. That's where the strength comes, is in your core. It's not in your appendages.
Has your dance training helped you? I get the
Oh, yeah.
impression, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like dancers have to do that.
Dancers, in fact, injured dancers go to Pilates for rehab because it helps them. In fact, if you do Pilates, you'll see a lot of the same turnout. We call it Pilates stance, but they would call it first position in ballet. You'll see some of the same exact dancers need very strong core muscles.
Right.
To
And they always have good. They always have good posture. That's
right.
the impressive thing about
because
dancers.
they're being supported by their core. They're balancing the way that they're working out. Those of us that just play tennis or just do one exercise, we're not really balanced.
Who was or what is Pilates? I'd heard there's a name mentioned. Can you give me a little history or give our audience a little history?
There's actually a man named Joe Pilates. He was German. He was a nurse during the war, and he saw a lot of people lying in their beds trying to recover and losing strength day by day.
Which war was this?
World War II.
World War II, okay.
Yeah, and he was a nurse. And so he would devise these contraptions in hospital beds where people could develop their core strength, pull up on a pole, or push something with their leg while they were laying there recovering. And from that, he developed a program to strengthen your core. He went out, in fact, he was kind of nut, I think, but he went out in nature.
A good nut.
Yeah, he was kind of before his time is what he was.
Yeah.
But he would study animals, and he would study the way they stretched and the way that they moved, and he took that and combined it with his knowledge of anatomy and came up with this group of exercises to strengthen the core. And there's a lot of different groups teaching Pilates now. I would advise people, if they're looking for a group to train with, make sure it's classical Pilates, which would be the method that Joe used or created.
Well, since you mentioned classic Pilates, what else is out there so that people can judge? What other kind of Pilates is there other than classic?
Well, there's lots of different certifying and teaching groups now. It used to be like a trademark.
Right.
And they lost their trademark to call it Pilates. So anybody can come up, put Pilates in their name, and do whatever they want with that program.
So if I wanted to start a gym and have Pilates, I could do
Could
it?
if you wanted to.
Do I need any certification or training?
Ideally, yes. We're all certified
Okay.
trainers. But there's people out there coming up with their own programs. And yeah, ideally, if you're looking for somebody, you want to make sure that they're certified.
Right.
You want to make sure they're teaching the classical method.
Right.
And that you can just ask.
Okay.
Because there's lots of groups out there, lots of tapes, lots of books, lots of DVDs that would show you the fundamentals, which should, they're probably all very good. Some are going to be better than others.
Okay. Okay. How did you personally get started with Pilates? Because you were doing nutrition, you were doing certified public personal training. What brought you to Pilates?
Well, I told you when I first started teaching these aerobics classes, back 30 years ago, it was all the bouncing, all the high impact stuff. And I got older. and so did, the baby boomers. We all got older. And I realized that we all needed something more gentle that we could maintain through a lifetime. And this is going to be something, the Pilates, that will help us to keep our balance. When people, as they get older, they fall, not because necessarily their muscles are weak, but because their balance is off. And Pilates helps with that balance. It helps you maintain your core, that you aren't going to have the falls as you get older. So Pilates seems to be a more gentle way to exercise, so we're not constantly pounding on our joints.
Right. Leave alone. And I hope you, the audience, start thinking about that as well, because, I mean, we've reached the point where, especially at our age, I know I'm in my 50s. I've got to do something. Listen, thank you very much for watching the show. On behalf of Terry Peterson, I want to thank you and look for future programs real soon. Take care now.